Imagine a land where history breathes through every stone, where the echoes of empires and the cries of the dispossessed linger in the air. This is Palestine, a place of profound beauty and unyielding conflict. For over a century, its people have endured what historian Rashid Khalidi called the 100 Years' War on Palestine, a relentless struggle against colonial erasure, military occupation, and the fight to reclaim identity. Let us journey through Khalidi's groundbreaking account, a story not just of war, but of resistance, resilience, and the unbreakable will to exist. Our story begins in the twilight of World War I. The Ottoman Empire crumbles, and European powers carve up the Middle East. In 1917, British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour pens a letter to Lord Rothschild, pledging support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. But this land is not empty. It is home to Arab farmers, merchants, and families who've lived there for centuries. Khalidi writes, "This was the first declaration of war for the British Empire." He argues weaponized colonial policy, dismissing Palestinian sovereignty. Protests erupt, but London silences dissent. The seeds of displacement are sown. 1948, the year Palestine is shattered. As British rule ends, Zionist militias launch Plan Dalit, a campaign to expel Palestinians. Over 700,000 flee or are forced from their homes. Entire villages are erased. Khalidi's own family escapes Jerusalem's Talbiya neighborhood, their villa seized by Israeli forces. This is the Nakba, the catastrophe. For Israelis, 1948 marks independence. For Palestinians, it's like a wound that just keeps reopening, never really healing. Khalidi reminds us, the Nakba is not history, it is ongoing. By 1967, Israel occupies Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem. Palestinians now live under military rule. Checkpoints, curfews, and settlements fracture their land. Yet resistance grows. The Palestine Liberation Organization emerges, led by figures like Yasser Arafat. But internal divisions and external pressures weaken their cause. Khalidi critiques Arab regimes for using Palestine as a symbol while abandoning its people. Meanwhile, Israel tightens its grip, banking on what he calls the politics of force. In 1987, a traffic accident in Gaza sparks the first Intifada, uprising in Arabic. For 6 years, children confront soldiers with stones. It's a grassroots revolt, televised globally, forcing the world to see Palestinian humanity. But then, everything changed in 1993 with the Oslo Accords, and hope started to fade. Khalidi calls it a Faustian bargain. Palestinians gain limited self-rule in isolated enclaves, while Israel expands settlements. The promise of peace becomes a prison of bureaucracy. The Second Intifada erupts in 2000, a spiral of violence and retaliation. Hamas rises, Israel blockades Gaza, and the US backs Israeli militarism unconditionally. Khalidi condemns the international community's moral failure, arguing that peace talks are a charade masking apartheid. Yet amid the despair, Palestinian voices persist. Artists, activists, and everyday people document their stories, refusing to be erased. The war Khalidi warned us about didn't end. It evolved. Since October 2023, Gaza has become a graveyard of numbers. 38,000 dead, 70% women and children, entire bloodlines erased. Israel drops 2,000-pound bombs on refugee camps designed for 5,000 people, now crammed with 50,000. The UN calls it a war on children, and they're right. 14,500 kids killed. More than 6 Hiroshima bombs worth of explosives rain down on one of the most densely populated places on Earth. But look closer, 10,000 still buried under rubble. 80% of Gaza's homes are dust. 27 hospitals have been bombed, leaving them eerily silent and abandoned. Gaza's siege has left people starving, eating grass, and drinking sewage. This isn't war. It's a live-streamed genocide, a colonial playbook updated with AI targeting systems and PR lies. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, settlers armed and funded by the state burn villages, shoot families, then move in. 500 Palestinians killed there since October, 9,000 arrested, while the world watches. Yet in darkness, hope shines. Surgeons work without anesthesia, relying on phone lights. This is Khalidi's long, ongoing battle. The weapons changed, the lies stayed the same. But so did the Palestinian refusal to disappear. Khalidi's writing as both historian and descendant of this land urges us to see this not as a religious conflict, but as a colonial project, one that demands global reckoning. As we close this chapter, remember, history is not inevitable. The next page is ours to write.